Hello everybody, welcome back. So I'm going to talk about something really basic, but really important, and it's basically about the Bitcoin dominance chart and what this means for the overall way to trade cryptocurrency effectively. And it's the way that I've been trading it for years, to be honest with you. And it's a matter of support and resistance, telling us whether to get in or out, or hedge into or hedge out of Bitcoin to altcoins, right? So if you're new to the market, that's fine. Everyone was new once, and in fact, it was only less than 5 years ago, really, for me, so that's still quite new. But if you're very new, as in like this year, you might be under there might be a misconception, which is that cryptocurrency just goes up generally all the time. Now, obviously, recently we've dumped, and so that might obviously that bitter pill you have now swallowed. But there's also another way to digest that pill, right? Which is that there's a way to play this between support and resistance of Bitcoin dominance. And when we have a Bitcoin dominance chart that looks like this, generally you'd expect it to bounce from a support up to a resistance. But what this is that this is the market cap of Bitcoin versus altcoins. And historically, Bitcoin dominance doesn't usually go down this low. The last time it came down this low was in the bear market of 2018. So the last, or should I say, the biggest alt season ever had happened, and it had brought the dominance chart right down. And then it bounced all the way up, all the way back up to 73% dominant, right? So that's massive. And if you ever look at some Bitcoin versus altcoin charts, in fact, we'll just have a little look for fun, if this is what we call fun, Ethereum to Bitcoin, and this is again this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? So Ethereum is one of the stronger ones. This is what the charts end up looking like, right? This is a good chart, by the way, rather than a bad one. Let's have a look at some of the other things. XRP to Bitcoin. This is what a Satoshi chart looks like all the way down. What else have we got? What's a top cap coin? Give me something to think of. Well, I can't think right now, so a terrible video. But generally, most altcoins just go down. But we'll just pick on some random ones, not these new ones, but it's just some random ones. What's this thing look like? Oh, that looks the same. Let's have a look. What's this one look like? Is that the same? Yeah, that's terrible. What's this one look like? Is that the same? Yeah, pretty bad. What's this one look like? Well, I suppose it's quite new. Anyway, you get the picture. They generally go like this, and what this means is that Bitcoin always ends up outperforming altcoins, and that seems to always be the case. And the only outliers, which are just a few of them, would appear to be the new coins, which come onto the market, go whoop, and then go back down again, and will probably end up looking like this. Now, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, not at all. What I am is a trader, and I like altcoins to basically make those big, massive moves. But historically, when Bitcoin dominance is this low, it's going to trend up. Now, I think the market's slightly different now, so I don't think it's going to trend all the way up to 73% like it's done on these two tops here. It could do that, though, so we have to bear that in mind. And what this means is that altcoins will lose their Satoshi values, which means that if you're going to have any stake in any kind of cryptocurrency, generally when dominance is low, Bitcoin is probably the best place to be, the better place to be. Whether that's in a downtrend, you'll lose less money, or in an uptrend, you'll make more money, and then you go back into the altcoins when Bitcoin dominance hits a resistance. Now, the best resistance we could hope for, well, we're at one now, technically a Bollinger Band, but this is also one over here, 52. This is one over here, about 57. And if we break up from there, we're talking about 60, and then so on and so on and so on until it finally finds a rejection. And this is where we go into altcoins. And in January, we hedged into altcoins, obviously, because we were at this multi-year resistance here, and it made more sense, and we got in and we made tons and tons of money. But on the way down, we've been hedging out and going back into Bitcoin for the inevitable bounce, because when Bitcoin does bounce on this dominance chart, altcoins will lose quite a lot of their sats, and they will end up looking similar to this, most of them. And you can see, we're just scrolling down, most altcoins are down on a day versus Bitcoin. And this is, in my opinion, how it's likely to go for at least the next few months. So if we think about that, then the main thing to recognise is, well, what is there going to be an alt season? And this chart generally tells us when an alt season will happen, but it doesn't look like it wants to happen anytime soon. It'll probably happen here, or maybe even here, but if it doesn't happen in either of those, it'll happen even higher. It's definitely not just going to happen out of nowhere around here, I would say. It's very unlikely to happen. Now, one of the main reasons I'm saying that is that I recently checked on the daily chart, and the Ichimoku cloud has got a very strong buy signal, and obviously you can't buy the Bitcoin dominance in a, outright. But what this means is that this trend is likely to continue up until the trend comes to an end, and because we've got an entry point for the trend, we will also get an exit point for the trend, which is good for us to try and spot an alt season, because we will know when the trend is ended officially, and that way we can think about it more in terms of hedging back into altcoins or looking at some altcoin charts that look very tasty and tidy. So just so you know how this works, I mean, conversion baseline above the cloud, GQ span above the price action, and price action also above the cloud. This is going to continue until this GQ span touches price, or we have this blue conversion line touch this red baseline, and that will be the end of this trend. So for the moment, one of these signals would suggest we stay in the trend until the trend officially comes to an end, not because it gets rejected, but because we have a signal to say that the trend is over. So for the moment, it does look to me like the Bitcoin dominance chart is going to increase, not only because it's a very historical low, but also because we've got a very strong signal on this Ichimoku cloud. So I'm not entertaining the idea of entry points on any altcoins, really, not really right now, but soon we will. Whether we come up to here or here, it will be definitely time to start scraping the bottom of the barrel for those really oversold charts on their Bitcoin pairings, and that's where we can flip our Bitcoin into some of these altcoins and make some significant gains. At the moment, we're not really going to get significant gains, and just to put it into context again, you make significant gains just like anything. You buy at support, sell at resistance. So at the moment we're bouncing from support. We need to get to resistance before we make that transition. This was the best one we've had in such a long time, if not maybe the best one since 2017. Probably the best one that was ever identified on a chart anyway. This was a FOMO speculative end of cycle event, whereas this one was very much pinpointed on the chart and taken advantage of by me, and a lot of these guys watch my channel on YouTube and the Telegram and stuff. And so using that strategy, continuing to use the strategy, I would say let's hold off from altcoins at the moment, we'll wait. There's nothing to suggest that altcoins are going to have an altcoin season based upon this and the way that this has worked over the years that we've been using it, and it's worked all the time, so why shouldn't it work again? Do you know what I mean? If it's a good way to determine how to trade altcoins, or when to alternate from Bitcoin to altcoins and altcoins back into Bitcoin. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day, and take it easy.